the actual return on investment that good email marketing can get you. And one of the best things about email marketing as well is that you own the channel. So when you use social media, PPC, and things of that nature, which you need, and they're amazing, you definitely need to be very well-rounded when it comes to marketing, is unfortunately, you don't necessarily own the platform. And if any kind of policy happens or changes happen, you're kind of at the whim of that. And with your own email marketing audience, you own it. You can transfer it to any software. You can have it on Google Drive, anywhere where you need. And this is really good because a great example of when you rely on rented channels is actually Starbucks. So about a year ago, they had spent millions of dollars and had spent years building up their Facebook audience on their Facebook page. And then they realized overnight that they were only reaching about 1% of this organically. And this was because Facebook made a change overnight that restricted a page's reach organically. So they had spent millions of dollars and years to build up this audience. And now they actually have to run more ads to reach them, even though they had built it. So when you rely on other rented channels, in the worst case scenario, something could happen like this. And once again, you do need social media, PPC and everything, but the benefit of email is that you actually own it and you can bring it anywhere. And then also, as you'll be learning later in this presentation, email marketing can be essentially completely automated to generate your business traffic and leads on autopilot. And that's thanks to drip campaigns and email sequences. This is just a little example here of how when it's set up with a drag and drop filter, what it ends up looking like when certain triggers happen. Emails get sent out, and then based on behavior, users get segmented. And I'll be explaining a bit more later, but just so you understand the general idea. Now, once you want to actually get started with email marketing, you of course need a tool or a platform. So what I always recommend doing is, since there are hundreds of choices on the market, you definitely consider what your budget is. If you're looking for something kind of lean and flexible, there's actually free software out there, or ones that might run you about $10 per month. Also, your goals are really important. If you just want to send out the occasional newsletter and you need very simple features, there's solutions that align with that. And then also, if you have technical skills, there are solutions that allow you to have really deep analytics and segmenting and a CRM. And that's why if you need something simple, I recommend SendFox. I'll be showing you actually how to use them in a little bit. And they have a completely free plan. Or if you just want to spend $50 for a lifetime access, you can't beat that. It's probably going to be one of the cheapest options on the market right now. But if you want automation and a few more technical features, I recommend going with MailChimp. I believe they start at roughly $20 to $30 a month, but they do have a free plan that actually goes up to 2,000 subscribers. So you can use both of those to get a feel for the software and see which one's best for you. But if you do need advanced automation, segmentation, a CRM, very advanced email software, ActiveCampaign is really, really good. But no matter what you choose, I always recommend one, use free trials. A lot of them are going to allow you just to try it out for free, maybe for a week. Or if it's like SendFox and MailChimp, it's up to a certain subscriber amount. Also check if they have free demos where you actually get to hop on a live Zoom presentation and someone from the company will show you what it looks like firsthand, and just go watch and read reviews online so you can make the best purchasing decision. And after you have your software chosen, you need to create your first list. So a list is literally just a subscriber list, and you can create one to segment different users based on their different demographics or behavior. But you should just begin by creating one to keep things simple. Now, for example, if you're on SendFox, you can go to sendfox.com and just sign up for a free account to begin. You can click the list tab and then create a list. After that, you just name the list to stay organized, or optionally, you can actually import a CSV file. If you used MailChimp before, you can bring your contacts in from there, or you can import contacts from Google, click the create list button, and then your list is ready to go. It's simple as that. But of course, you do need a way to add people to these lists once it's actually enabled, and that's where a form comes into play. Now, a form essentially is filled out to collect subscribers' information. They fill it out, they're subscribed to that very specific email list. Once again, if you segment it, as I'll be showing you in a bit, you can use different types of email forms because they all serve different purposes. And these include pop-ups, embeds, and landing pages. You can see this is the top part of a Toronto AI marketing blog, and they have a really simple form up top just to enter your email address and to be subscribed to their newsletter. So that'd be an example of a very simple form that you see all the time. Now, what's really important though, and probably the best form you can make is a landing page. So it's actually proven that companies with 10 to 15 landing pages get about 55% more leads. And this makes sense because a landing page is a dedicated page for a specific offer. So if you look down here, this is Marketo.com, and this is a page for their guide on lead nurturing. And essentially you have to enter your information here, first name, last name, email and whatnot, get the guide. And after you've entered your info, you're able to download that. And by having a bigger offer like a guide, a white paper, a case study, you can have a landing page that's dedicated to it. And you can explain way more information, more features, more benefits. And then as you get more and more offers, you create more landing pages. And as HubSpot found in their data, you can actually generate a lot more leads. So I recommend every business to eventually start setting up a lot more landing pages. But you can even just begin super simple, just with a pop-up, because the top 10% highest performing pop-ups get about a 9.2% conversion rate. You can see this one on sumo.com. When you're browsing a blog, it pops up and it just asks you to enter your email to get a headline generator, or it could be as simple as opting into a newsletter or getting a lead magnet, as I'll be discussing in a little bit. So if you want to create your first form on SendFox, remember that no matter what software you choose, the steps are pretty much going to be the same. It'll just look a little bit different. You just click Forms, you click Create Form. You would assign it a name up here. You would choose what list that the form, when someone completes it, that they'll be assigned to. You can edit the layout a bit if you want to ask for first name, last name. And something I recommend when you're creating forms is to ask for as little information as possible. We're in a time where people are definitely sensitive to their information being collected, and it's proven that you can increase conversion rates by asking for less information simply because the form is just easier to fill out. And then if you want to add a redirect, which I'll be showing you how to do later as well, if you want to forward somebody to a download page for a lead magnet, you can do that. But you just click the Create Form button, it's all done, and then you can actually just copy and paste the code directly on your website. Now, if you're not a developer or very tech savvy, you can hand this off to your marketing team or a developer to do this. You literally just have to copy and paste it into a sidebar, a footer, wherever you'd like to place it. But then that form will be live and you can start collecting people's information. Optionally, what I recommend, I do this myself on my personal website, is you can actually just install a plugin or an app, depending if you're on WordPress, Weebly, Wix, and so on. They're going to have SendFox, MailChimp, all the major ones. And this makes it way easier just to instantly embed forms, add pop-ups, and collect people's information. So once you have a list, once you have a form, you need to actually offer something a bit more of value to get someone's information and to increase conversion rates. And that's what we call a lead magnet, because it's literally attracting leads to your business. And you want to do this because it firstly increases your opt-in rates, and it's a free resource you offer in exchange. And what I recommend doing is making something like a template, an ebook, a white paper, or a case study. These are some of the most common things, but feel free to be more creative. It's just something that your ideal customer profile would enjoy and would benefit from. And then you offer that in exchange for them signing up. So a really cool example is backlinko.com. They're an SEO company, and they included a content upgrade in a single blog post to test this. So essentially, if someone wanted to read the rest of the blog post near the end and get a free checklist, they had to enter their information, click the download button, and that alone increased their subscribers by 3.3%. So if you do end up using something maybe like Opt-in Monster, that's an email provider, some of them allow you to do content upgrades. And if you publish a lot of content and you want to offer some premium content as a lead magnet, it's very, very effective. Now, one of the most effective lead magnets as well, you might have actually come across yourself, is quizzes and surveys. So these are literally quizzes you fill out or surveys you fill out. And at the very end, they'll actually ask you to enter your email for the results. And why 84% will actually enter their email is because they've already invested all that time filling it out. And then at the end, they just simply have to enter their email. And once again, a lot of major email marketing software will allow you to add these to your website pretty easily. And then templates are another great one. I use this personally on my website. These are some of the templates I offer: website copywriting templates, email copywriting, content calendar, and whatnot. And then essentially when someone goes to download these, they opt in with their information, and I'm able to stay in touch with them, send more content, and promote products and services in the backend. And now one of the simplest things you can do if you want to make a lead magnet is just make a spreadsheet or a PDF and then host that on your website or a third-party website like Dropbox. And then as I showed you before on SendFox, and once again, you can do this on any other email platform, is you just redirect the user to that PDF or that download page. So as soon as they sign up, they go there, they can download it, and it's win-win. So after you've done all of this and you have people actually in your list, they're happy, they're engaging, it's now time to actually send out some email newsletters and constantly keep in touch. And an email newsletter is simply just a piece of content you're sending out via email to share news, updates, other content you might promote, like a blog post, a YouTube video, or for promoting products and services. Now, the first type of newsletter you're going to send is just the traditional news or update email. This is just used to share important updates about your business and also stay on a subscriber's mind. So this was actually an email I received recently from Vendosta, the marketing platform. And it was just a really simple update on some of their features and the things that they're doing to make their product better. And it's a great example of just a very traditional news and update style newsletter while also driving traffic back to their website. So anytime you have something to share about your business, your company, product or service, you can send it out just to stay on people's minds. And then the second type of newsletter you should be sending out is for sharing content. So I really like doing this for building authority, trust, and also driving traffic back to a website. And if you publish blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, you should be sharing these to your list every time, because once again, it's that private list you can tap and you can constantly be driving traffic back to your assets. And then, for example, this is an email I sent out. Anytime I publish a blog post, I send it out to my list. And this was just a really simple one talking about an article I wrote on copywriting KPIs. And then I quickly kind of went over the importance of measuring copywriting, unfortunately, how most people don't. And then you can read it here. So it's literally as simple as that. When you're sharing content, you can drive tons of traffic back to your website or wherever it might be. And then the last type of newsletter is going to be your sales email. Now, a really common mistake, as I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, is a lot of people will just constantly send out sales and promotional emails to their list. And what ends up happening is they burn their subscribers, and they get a lot of people that unsubscribe. They're not very happy because people sign up to your email list to learn, get content, and stay in touch with you. They're not trying to constantly get sold. So what I recommend is you use the 80-20 rule. And in terms of email marketing, this would mean about 80% of your emails are value-based, information-based, and the remaining 20% are promotional and salesy in nature. So you can actually do that. And then as well, when you're sending out those emails, what I want you to do is send them at very specific times. Otherwise, they might have bad open rates. And if people aren't opening the emails, then of course it means they can't engage with it and they can't convert. So CoSchedule did some pretty interesting data analysis, and they found some of the best times to send your emails include 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m. And why this makes sense, 6 a.m. firstly, is because people are normally getting into the office around 8 or 9. So if you send an email early morning, you're probably going to be at the very top of their inbox. And if you send it at 10 a.m., normally they've actually handled their inbox. They have a decent idea of what they're doing for the day. And then you'll be more receptive, or they'll be more receptive to your email, more likely to respond. The same goes with 2 p.m. They probably handled a lot of the work for the day, the heavy lifting. They'll be more likely to respond. And then a lot of people are still checking their email after work in the evening. So sending your newsletters at night can be very, very good. Now, it's not just the hour that counts when you're sending emails, it's also the day. So CoSchedule also found that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday tend to be the best. And this makes sense because Mondays, a lot of people are getting into the office. They need to handle big tasks, kind of get into the groove for the week. So they may not be very likely to respond to your email. Same with Friday, where people are kind of clocking out, getting ready for the weekend. And that's why Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday tend to be the best times to send your newsletter. Now, what's really important when you're actually sending out these newsletters is the subject line, because 35% of people open emails based on the subject line alone. And you can actually boost your open rates quite significantly just by optimizing the subject line. And one of the first ways I recommend that is with personalizing it. And you can just include the subscriber's first name or company name. Remember, when you create the form, the information you ask for can include the company name and first name. And then the email marketing software you use should be able to automatically pull that as a token, and you can include it in the subject line. Now, what's also proven to be really good for subject lines is creating a sense of urgency. So that essentially means you're pushing people to take action sooner or later in fear that they might miss out on something. So you can literally say something as simple as don't miss out, or an example would be that a certain promotion ends in 24 hours and they literally have to take action. Something I would also recommend doing in your subject lines is stating a direct benefit and a reason for opening it, because this makes it more clear as of why someone should be opening it and why they're or what they're actually going to get out of it. So, for example, something as simple as say 50% with this coupon code would be a really good subject line, maybe for an e-commerce business, because the subscribers clearly have a reason to open it and they'll be a lot more likely to engage. Now, in Canada specifically, emails can be a bit of a tricky thing, legally, that is. So you have to make sure that you're remaining compliant. I highly recommend that if you're serious about email outreach and email marketing, you definitely educate yourself on FTC guidelines and the Canadian anti-spam laws, because there's very specific things you have to do in your emails to remain compliant. One of which is your subject lines can't be misleading. So make sure you never start with reply or forward if you actually don't have a chain going, because that implies that you had some kind of initial contact or previous conversation when you didn't. Make sure you're not doing that. Add a physical address in the footer. So a lot of email marketing software will ask you for this and automatically pull it into the footer. You need a way to include for people to opt out if they wish, and that if people do opt out, you have to actually honor that. So don't continue emailing them if they opt out. And what a lot of email solutions do is they actually keep those people that have unsubscribed in a whole separate list, so you don't keep adding them by accident. But just to make sure you are remaining compliant, go refresh on the FTC guidelines, can spam, and frankly, if you're using any kind of major email solution, they'll automatically handle most of this. So for you, it's mostly the subject line and the actual content you're giving someone. So after you've done all of this, now you can actually get into probably one of the best parts of email marketing, one of the funnest and rewarding, and that is creating automated sequences and drip campaigns. So an email sequence is a series of automated emails that are sent to subscribers, and you control the triggers, the sales copy, when the emails are sent, the segment it's sent it to, and more. And I like using this for my business and my clients to automate traffic, leads, and revenue versus sending emails manually. So overall, you end up driving a lot more results while just saving a ton of time. And the goal mainly is to build trust and authority when you use a email sequence while smoothly transitioning into your products. Remember that 80-20 rule, not only when you're sending emails in general, but when you are doing the automated sequence as well. And you should be using all the types of newsletters like the news, updates, sharing content, and also promoting your products and services. And what's really great about doing email sequences is you're able to guide users down different paths depending on where they are in the buyer's journey and what their lead score is. So I'll show you an example right here. So this is a drip campaign from Zapier. And you can see that the very first email was to send a white paper. So if someone opened that, they would be sent an ebook because clearly they're engaged and they're interested. And now if they opened that, they'd be given a product demo because they've shown a lot of interest and they're very likely to convert into a customer. But if they didn't open the ebook, they'd be sent a video overview as it's a bit more lighter while still promoting their product and service. Now, if someone didn't open the white paper initially, they're sent a video. Once again, it's a bit lighter, easier to consume. If they open that, they're given a relevant ebook that's able to tie into the product. And if they don't open that, they're just cut out of the email sequence because they're not engaging and they're clearly not meant for the business. So this is a really cool visual of how when you actually end up setting up a sequence, how you can tailor it and map it out and push users down different experiences based on exactly who they are and exactly if they're willing to convert or not. And this is really important as well because 76% of companies who use marketing automation see a positive return on investment. And as you can see here, there was actually a few companies, 12%, that saw an ROI in about 1 month, but most saw it in 2 to 6, 7 to 12, or even past a year. But overall, marketing automation, and in particular email, is going to generate a really good ROI. And as I talked about very early on, it can be up to 40x ROI, which is amazing. Now, just to show you how simple it is to set up an automation, if you're on SendFox, you just go to sendfox.com. On your account, you click automations, start with a template, or you can do it from scratch if you want. But if you're new, you might as well use a template to make it a little bit easier. And then you add your website, you add your name of the website as well, click next, you add in your social profile, so these can appear in the footer, and anyone you email can check out your social accounts. And then you got to choose one of the automations. Now, SendFox, they have two. One sends a welcome email to the new subscriber, a recent blog post you've promoted, and a social follow, or just a simple one where you welcome them. And then the next day you ask for a social follow. So choosing the first one, you can see this is what it looks like. So essentially there's a trigger, which in this case is someone being added to a specific list. And then there's no delay. So instantly when someone signs up on that specific form and they're entered into that list, they're sent a welcome email. And of course, you can edit it here and you can see your open rate, unsubscribed, bounce, clicks, all your metrics here. And then there's a delay for 24 hours. So the next day, the second email would be sent, another delay for 24 hours, the third email would be sent. So mainly what you're controlling and editing here is the trigger. So how it begins, the email copy itself, and the delay. So you don't necessarily have to use these exact emails. You could promote a piece of content, a discount code, a service. You could ask them a question, send a newsletter, do anything you want. But in general, once again, you're trying to send these sequences out to automate sharing content, building a relationship, and then finally offering some kind of product or service. And an amazing example that I loved is actually Netflix. So to prevent all the monthly subscriptions they were losing rather, they made a sequence to anyone that canceled the Netflix subscription. And as you can see, this email essentially just told customers that, they're sorry they left and that they can restart their membership at any time they like. And then what they would do over the next few months is they would email these people, creating a sense of urgency and scarcity by showing them all the cool shows and movies that are available that are also segmented and targeted towards them. So based on their previous watch time and the videos and movies that they watched, they would present those. So it was targeted to each individual person. And once again, they're just showing them what they're missing out on, and they're more likely to end up converting and coming back to Netflix. So you can use sequences just in general to welcome people, but you can also use them to win back lost business. And then the final email essentially told them that they're welcome to rejoin. And they used a really bold red call to action that said, rejoin today. And this actually helps Netflix to this day constantly get back people who cancel their membership. Now, just to recap everything I've gone over today, email marketing is going to be the use of using email as a channel to drive traffic, leads, and revenue for your business. Some good tools I recommend, SendFox, as I went over. I really love MailChimp as well. And then ActiveCampaign is great if you need something a bit more advanced. Lists are going to be literally just your lists of contacts and subscribers. Your forms are going to be used on your website, such as landing pages or pop-ups, to actually collect the people's information for them to fill out. The lead magnets are going to be free resources you offer in exchange for someone's information. These can be ebooks, templates, case studies, and so on. And then the three major types of newsletters you want to send are going to be updates and news, content, and then your promotional emails. And then finally, you can create sequences to automatically drip emails out in any way you want. If you want to get a free consultation, you can come to my website, reach out to me at any time. We can help you out with your email, strategy, copywriting, anything you need, but that does sum up the webinar. And I'm happy to go into a Q&A, answer any questions, and help you guys out with anything email.
Thank you so much, Carmen. That was fantastic.
No problem.
All right, everyone. Feel free to post any questions in the chat. This is your opportunity to really pick Carmen's brain. Maybe I'll kick it off, Carmen.
Yeah, no problem.
Some people are posting. I have a little bit of experience using MailChimp, but what would you recommend and when is the time to start to get into some of the more sophisticated programs like ActiveCampaign or some of those?
Yeah, I would say that, MailChimp's a really good start and it gives you a lot. But when you need a more advanced CRM or you want to start segmenting, so you're not just trying to email like one big list, you're actually emailing different people based on their behavior, kind of like I showed with that one sequence from Zapier, where if people are like downloading something or not. You start sending them down different paths, or if you need more analytics, I would say that's when you need to start upgrading, definitely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Kevin. The timing for sending emails mentioned getting into the office. If your product is consumer based, does this change the timing strategy?
It does somewhat, but not necessarily. Like I think you could definitely still send your emails early morning and in the evening because obviously everyone or most people are still going to be working and busy during the afternoon and early evening. So if you send your emails early morning or in the evening, you're probably going to get the best open rates and engagement. But like with anything, what I actually recommend is you just test out sending your emails at different times and frequencies. And then when you do look into the open rate of your emails, you might find out, for example, the data I went over, that might be working. Or maybe when you send your emails out on a Monday at noon, that gets the most open rates. And that's just what works for your audience. So definitely use the data I used as a benchmark, but then always look into the information the marketing software is giving you. And then you can use that because every audience is different.
Great, thank you. We have a question from Evan. First off, thanks for the great info. Earlier, you mentioned having 10 to 15 landing pages converts 55% more leads. For a B2B business, how would you suggest getting this number of landing pages?
So really a landing page comes down to having an individual offer. So really, if you want to create more landing pages, you just really need to make more lead magnets. So for example, you might split up your landing pages into individual case studies, white papers, reports, any guides, ebooks, anything like that. So really the landing page number just comes down to actually making more lead magnets and something you can give to somebody that they would download.
Awesome. So a question from Kevin. Would you provide us with a sample of how you might construct an email sequence composed entirely of affiliate products?
Yeah, so if you're doing affiliate marketing, yeah, I'll go back to that sequence actually and show you. So if we were doing affiliate marketing, so for those who don't know, affiliate marketing is essentially where you promote another business's products and then you get a percentage of the sale. So if you're doing strictly affiliate products, it would still remain pretty similar. You would definitely want to be not going as hard, just selling strictly the products, but rather dripping relevant content to build trust while also educating them. So for example, if you were doing, let's say, health affiliate, you'd probably be dripping content and advertorials and maybe even case studies on that specific health niche. So you're essentially educating them and you're almost soft selling the product. And then every 1 in 4 emails, let's say, is a hard sell on the product. But also within content, what you would want to do is obviously have affiliate links going out to those offers, but just being kind of gentle with them, not being too hard. But it would still relatively be the same kind of process.
That's fantastic. I really like that. There's a visual there to see it. And again, just to refresh, these slides will be available after, so we'll make sure everyone who attended gets a copy. So we have a few more questions coming in. One of my companies uses Facebook's Instagram for pushing out info on the company and new products. What would be a strategy to complement the conversation to email newsletters?
So you're posting content on Facebook, Instagram. So actually one of the best things you could do is repurposing. So this is something that I do a lot and I always advise my clients is to repurpose their content. So you take your existing content and you simply publish it on a different channel. In this case, it'd be email. So what you can actually do is just take those Facebook posts, Instagram posts, and just send them out also via email. And then you're just making a lot more of an efficient marketing strategy versus posting on one channel. You can just post it right to email and make sure that everyone's able to see it. Or you can actually slightly improve it, add more content, but use those original Facebook and Instagram posts as the foundation.
That makes sense. If you have a client or past client's email, can you legally start sending them newsletters and updates, or do they have to opt in somewhere?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think you do have to have, so as long as you don't start the email subject line with re or forward, like something implying you had a previous conversation, you should be able to email them, but as well, it'd be ideal if you had them in your list, but if it's just some gentle communication, you're not actually selling anything, it's completely fine.
Excellent. And then on that, correlated, some of those rules around anti-spamming, Carmen, can you
Mhm.
give a quick, just 101 on what not to do just to make sure you are doing things proper?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say like the big one again is a subject line. You can't mislead them in any way. So if you try to imply you had some engagement or conversation going, it's really illegal. You definitely don't want to do that. You definitely need a unsubscribe button. If you ever go to a bottom of an email you get, there's normally an unsubscribe button, and you need to honor that. So they need a way to unsubscribe. And also, after they've unsubscribed, once again, make sure you're not sending them emails. Actually honor that and just disclose anything within the email. So if you're trying to push another business's product, you have to legally disclose that. You have to also have your address in the footer, your physical address of the business. And if you're sending out any kind of cold emails pitching your own product or service, you have to make it very clear that you're selling something. The main thing really is just like that transparency and not trying to hide anything. I think that's like the main thing. And if you go to the FTC website, if you Google like FTC email laws, can spam, there's about, I think, 9 or 10 things as a checklist you go through. And it's all pretty straightforward stuff, but it really comes down to the transparency and honesty.
That's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
So another question, just on my end, is for a lot of businesses, it might seem like a huge learning curve and just want to outsource it. They simply don't have the time or
Mhm.
small resources and personnel. Do you offer packages to run email marketing for different companies?
Yeah, definitely that's a big part of my consulting. So if a business needs help, maybe setting up the email software itself, the sequences, writing the copy with the targeting, I definitely can hop on a consultation call, kind of get the idea of the scope they need, and then send them a custom quote. But yeah, that's a big part of what I do. And definitely the email outreach. If they're looking for prospecting and lead gen, that's something I can help with as well.
That's great. Okay, another question. What platform/channel would you suggest for the best email deliverability?
Yep. So I would say one, it comes down to actually where you get the emails from. So if you're doing, you can use like hunter.io, for example, to find emails. And there's a few different email kind of hunting or finding tools. So it's actually the quality of the initial email that's really important. But personally, I found MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, and Aweber to probably have the best deliverability. I always have very high deliverabilities with those.
Awesome. And are some of those lead gen tools you just mentioned, Hunter.io, and some of the others, are those all paid or is there a free version to get started on?
Yeah, Hunter.io has a free version. I think the free one gets you 50 searches per month. A lot of them do have free trials or at least demos to allow you to see the software in the back end. But yeah, you should definitely always use a free trial if you can, because then you kind of see if it works for your business and your needs.
Absolutely. Do you have any opinions about HubSpot's email marketing?
Oh yeah, I still use HubSpot every single day. So the thing with HubSpot is that I would say the main benefit with them is more like the CRM. So if you need really advanced ways to keep in touch with people, edit their information, follow up, then I would use them. They're probably the most advanced email CRM tool you can get. And they're also free. There's a free version you can use. So if you need more advanced sales CRM and information like that for lead gen, they're really, really good. But the paid stuff can be quite expensive. But other than that, it's really good.
So this is a question. We get emails from a landing page, but sometimes goes to their junk mail. Is there a way we can avoid getting in the junk mail? Is
Mm.
there a keyword thing in the subject?
Yeah, so going to the junk mail, sometimes, yeah, that can be in the subject line in the body. There's certain words that email providers like free, or you'd have to look it up. There's a lot of different keywords that can actually be throwing you instantly to junk mail. Yeah, it's either the quality of the email, the keywords you're using. Try personalizing it as well. If you do have the recipient's first name, company name, always put that in the email because sometimes if you send out way too many emails at once, then it can actually just start going to the junk mail because the email provider just thinks it's spam.
That makes a lot of sense. Any other questions, guys? Don't be shy. This is your time to ask away.
Yes, sir. No problem. Anytime.
Yeah, what a very informative presentation, Carmen. And every time, I listen and watch one of your presentations to learn a bit more and new techniques and things that I didn't know about email marketing and just digital marketing. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it. I try to make it as practical as possible. I think that's a big part of good content is not just sharing the knowledge, but actually showing how to do it.
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of these areas, many people, entrepreneurs think are, out of their reach of doing it themselves. And I think really you've showed today we can get started very simply and, get started. Here's a question. Have you ever purchased any email lists and would you recommend it?
So I've never done it, and I definitely would recommend that you don't do it just because there's a lot more legalities around that. Once again, you need to normally have some kind of established contact with them. And as well, since they don't know you, the open rate, the reply rate, the conversion rates universally are going to be very, very low. So I normally wouldn't really recommend it. I know there's a lot of services out there that like to sell email lists, especially for lead gen, but frankly, I've never really seen it turn out well or be a good thing.
When we are trying to set up a budget, is there a suggested percentage of sales we should be aiming for?
Percentage of sales from emails.
Kevin Jacoby, if you mind just specifying that, that'd be fantastic.
Just the amount of budget towards email. I wouldn't really say there's a specific amount. It would just depend on your own marketing budget. I think they need a good blend though of email, SEO, content, social media, but email and probably PPC are normally going to be some of the best traffic and revenue drivers. So they should probably take up a bulk of whatever your marketing budget is.
And are those some other areas that your business offers, Carmen, PPC and?
Yeah, I do content writing, copywriting, SEO, lead gen. If you need help with email, I'm pretty well rounded with what I can do and help with people. I don't do PPC right now, but I do write the Facebook ads, Google ads, banner ads, and so on.
Awesome. So this question, would that list purchase prohibition apply to co-reg data also?
I'm not familiar with co-reg data, co-regulated, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
It might be presuming that's like set up in a way that you can use it, then yeah, if that's the case. But I think no matter what, even if you do legally purchase a list, which there are ways, I think that's exactly what you're talking about, you still just end up with pretty low conversion rates compared to building your own list where someone found your business, they, co-registration. Okay. Well, actually, if it's co-registered, then that might not be too bad. You can actually probably get pretty decent performance and it'd be worth testing for sure. As long as they know your business and they're familiar with you, that's the main thing.
Do you have any recommendations you found work great for your clients in the past for solid lead gen for SaaS products specifically?
In terms of email marketing products, that is, do you have any recommendations? Oh, like lead gen products. Yeah. So Hunter.io is probably the best. I actually use that right now for some of my SaaS clients when I'm doing their outreach and I'm getting them customers and I'm doing PR and things like that. One of my clients, I was able to close about 250K US through outreach in a quarter just through using Hunter.io and HubSpot and reaching out to very specific people. Because when you're doing SaaS, whether you're doing outreach for customers or you're trying to build partnerships and doing referrals, it's really important that you find companies and the decision makers in those very target companies. So it might be the VP of marketing, CMO, and so on, or maybe if the company's small enough, it can even be the CEO or the founder. But I would highly recommend you look into hunter.io. And as I was telling David earlier, it does have a free plan for you to try, but it's amazing for lead gen.
So that sounds like a pretty good ROI, everyone, from using email marketing to 250K in sales.
Not bad.
Okay, guys, we have 10 minutes remaining, but it looks like we will be able to wrap up a few minutes early. Any last questions before we check off here? Evan, are there any legal problems that you think about when using Hunter.io?
Well, with Hunter.io, essentially how the software works, it's really simple. So when you plug in a domain name, all they're actually doing in the back end is scraping Google and search engines. Like even if you search something, it shows you all the sources that they found the email from. So there's nothing legally you have to worry about. It's just really how you're going to go ahead and use that email. So as long as you're compliant and you're doing everything good after, nothing to worry about.
Any final questions? I'll leave it open for one more if there's anyone. A few people just joined now. It's a little
A little late.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry, everyone. Just to, again, people just joining, the slides we will be sending out in the next days. So we have everyone's email list here. So we'll be using some of the new email marketing techniques. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, on behalf of us at Spark, the Niagara Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Niagara Falls Small Business Enterprise Center, thank you so much, Carmen. We really
My pleasure.
appreciate you sharing your knowledge, and everyone feel free to reach out to him with any further questions or if you'd like to go forward and have a consultation with him.